Tutorial 2 totally deals with the practice of the Linux commands. These are the various Linux commands that are mostly used by the hackers or pen testers. Not only most pen testers or hackers, but in general, these are the most commonly used commands. The reason is since you are using the Kali Linux as a tool or as an operating system for performing the penetration testing activity, you must be aware of the Linux commands. So if you have doubt of any Linux command, you may use man command, man command name. So if, for example, I don't know about what is meant by change mode. That is, you are supposed to change from the read mode to write mode, write mode to append mode, or sorry, execute mode or something. Then how to change this mod of the file or a directory? So I want to know details about this. You type man space chmod. So it will give you the details of chmod, how to use that, what are the options available, etc. Then it is going to give the following exploring of the following topics: ethical hacking guidelines provided by the EC Council. Because if you are a starting ethical hacker, then you are supposed to know some guidelines that are actually the Electronic Commerce Council has prescribed some guidelines that need to be followed by the ethical hacker. So next is what is meant by difference between hub, switch, router, and gateway. So because these are the various networking devices that are used in the network, and you are supposed to pass through these networking devices to reach the target system. So that reason you must know what is the difference between hub, switch, router, and gateway. Basically, the hub will be used at the physical level, switch at the data link level, and the router is at the network level, and gateway is at the all levels of the protocol stack. So there is another device called a repetitor. Repetitors are the physical devices usually to strengthen the or boost the signal and will forward further. So that I have not mentioned in this. I have provided only hub, switch, router, and gateway. So router will do the application level, network level tasks. That is finding the IP address, storing the IP address, and the below layers of the network layer, like data link layer and physical layer activities, will be done by the router. Gateway is like a server which is placed at the starting of any organization. Protocol stack. Next is what is meant by operations of domain name system. So how the DNS will be resolved. Okay, how the DNS names are created and how DNS names are resolved. Because these are the foundations that you are supposed to understand. So if you want to be a good penetration tester or ethical hacker, unless until you won't clear these foundations, that means all these topics must be thoroughly known to you. Unless and otherwise, you cannot proceed in a smooth way. So that is the reason this tutorial is totally deals with thoroughly knowing the basic concepts. You may be knowing DNS and DHCP, these kind of words you may be listening as you are a computer science and information technology student. But uh, what exactly these terminologies will do, and how these terminologies will be implemented, that you must be aware of. Otherwise, uh, planning the penetration testing activity on the target is very difficult. So finding the MAC and IP address of the system running Windows, Mac OS, and Linux as the operating system. So how you will come to know the MAC address and IP address? You are aware of the IP address can be obtained by ipconfig or ifconfig, depending upon the operating system you run. And whenever you run this ipconfig or ifconfig, you will also get the MAC address. That is uh, that is the medium access control address, which is a physical address that will be defined at your network interface card. Next is role of DHCP in setting the IP address. So whenever you fix a range of IP address for the network, automatically if you enable the DHCP server, then automatically it will assign a random IP address whenever it boot up. Whenever a system boot up, automatically it assigns the random IP address. That random IP address will not match with any other IP address in the same network. DHCP is the dynamic way of creating the IP address in a given range. Where in case of static IP means we are going to set the IP address manually. So next is answer the following questions. How TCP/IP suite, TCP three-way handshake, and TCP sequencing works. I hope by this time you are aware of the TCP/IP suite, that is TCP/IP network protocol stack, and the TCP three-way handshake, because many of the applications at the application layer will use the services of TCP in the transport layer. So that is the reason, as a penetration tester, you must thoroughly know the concept of the this TCP/IP suite and TCP three-way handshake, and also the TCP flags, that is TCP packet and its flags. These are the basic concepts that you must be aware of. Next is you must also know the concept of the various classes of IP addressing, especially IPv4 addressing. Even though IPv6 is in force, still many of the organizations are using the IPv4 addressing. So that reason, as a penetration tester, you must aware of the classes of IP addressing and also the subnetting procedure, how the subnetting procedure will be used for the IP addressing. That also you must be aware of. And to support a specific number of hosts, that is, if you want to allot a range of IP addresses to a subnet with some X amount of computers or X number of computers. So to suit that X number of computers, what is the subnetting you are supposed to use so that you can meet this or you can allot IP addresses, unique IP addresses to that many X number of hosts. That since this you might have studied in your computer networks, IP addressing and IPv4 subnetting. So you may refer to that and can solve this particular question. Next is subnet the class C IP address, which is 192.1.1.0, so that you have 10 subnets, each with a maximum of 12 hosts on each subnet. List the addresses on host 1 on subnet 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 10. So this is a subnetting problem that you have studied in your computer networks. So you may refer to any computer networks textbook, either by computer networks by Tenenbaum or William Stalling or B.A. Forzen. You may refer to any one of these textbooks, and you can find how subnetting will be done with some examples in the textbooks. This is with respect to the tutorial 2. While coming to the tutorial 3, this is virtual lab creation. So since you are supposed to do the penetration testing by making your own environment. So this is the prepare the following network diagram in VirtualBox or VMware. You must aware of the various networking configurations that are available in the VirtualBox or VMware. First, by understanding that, you must go through this diagram or this implementation. So there is let's assume that you are supposed to create an environment in such a way that it should work like an organization. That this is the organization setup. In this organization setup, the internet is coming from the outside ISP provider, internet service provider. Whenever the internet is coming, you are going to place a router at the starting of the organization. For this router, you may use any one of the routing software or router software. or you may place a server over here, which will take care of the traffic coming into the network, or you may place a router software here. So for this, there are many router softwares available, which can be installed with the on the virtual machine. You may use any one of the router software, and here /24 is the subnet. /24 means 255.255.255.0 is the IP subnetting that is going to be used. So here class C network is used, and also class B network. So here computer 1, which is of 19.168.1.3, 1.4 and 1.5, and from this network, that is 192.168.1.1 by 24 series, there is a server is connected. This server is having two network interface cards. One network interface card is connected with the 19.168.1.1 by 24, and another NIC is connected to 170.168.1.1 by 24. So this IP address range is different, and this IP address is different. This is class C network, and this is class B network. Okay, so these two networks have been used, and this server is the one who is going to control both the both the networks. So assume that this is a LAN network, and here also a LAN network is there. You may fine tune this diagram like internet, router, and this router may be connected to the server, and server may be having two LAN cards. Okay, server may be having two LAN cards. So this, or we can say server may be having three LAN cards. One LAN card is connected to the router, one LAN card is connected to the LAN 1, and another LAN card is connected to the LAN 2. So server is the one who is responsible for communicating between the LAN 1 and LAN 2. That is 192 series computer to 172 series computer. So this is a typical organizational structure. That means in general organization, sometimes they may use multiple IP ranges, because to provide greater security. This LAN 1 may be allotted to a administrative position, or this second LAN may be allotted to some normal employees. Just like that, they will have this IP address ranges. So this is a typical organizational setup where you can have multiple LAN networks that is with the different IP ranges. One is class B range and another is class C range, and there is a router also, there is a server also. So you may use Kali Linux from outside of the from outside, and you may connect it, or you may use Kali Linux within the computer, within the organizational network. So for this you may use the device router. In means from internet, out means you are going to connect to the 192.168.1.1. Computer 1 is consisting of Windows XP operating system, and its IP address is this one. Computer 2, Windows 7 operating system. Computer 3, Kali Linux operating system. Server computer, any server operating system, either maybe Ubuntu or Windows 2008 server or Windows 2016 server. Whatever the server is available, you may use it. Next is computer 4 is Ubuntu 8.4, which is a very old Ubuntu operating system. Computer 5, vulnerable OS v2. In the virtual lab setup, I have provided the links for this downloading of the vulnerable OS v2. And in computer 6, you will find Kali Linux. So either you may set up the Kali Linux at any one of the LAN or both the LANs. That is up to you. So this setup at least require 100 GB space, and at least of 4 GB RAM is required to run this particular setup. Here various operating systems that I have mentioned. These are the operating systems that you can use by downloading. from the corresponding links that I have provided. The Windows XP, you can use it directly because there is no service for the Windows XP now. Microsoft has given up the Windows XP service in 2014, so you can download from the Windows XP from the Microsoft website, and also you can download Windows 7 and maybe latest operating systems. And anyhow, the Linux operating systems are free. You can download for without having any trouble. And you can download a 30 days version of Windows 7 and you can install it. So while coming to this router software, you may use a router software called IP-Fire. Okay, IP-Fire is a router software. You may download the ISO of the IP-Fire and you may use it in the virtual machine. You may download it, you may install the IP-Fire in the virtual machine. So this is called the open source firewall. So this IP-Fire is an open source firewall that you may use it. I am placing the link here. You may go through that link and you can download that ISO file and install just like a normal operating system. And it looks like uh, the software that you will find in a router. If you might having the broadband routers at your home, you may view the broadband router setups. In that you will find okay, how to configure the router and what is the bandwidth you can allocate and what are the ranges of IP that you can allot. So many other details that you will find in your D-Link router or whatever the router that you are having at your home. The same type of setup you will find in this IP-Fire. So with this you can connect it. And also in the channel that is in my channel, I have provided a detailed description of setting up of your own virtual labs in 3 different parts. Either you may follow that to gain more understanding of the networking concepts that are used in the virtual box, or if you don't want this much complex setup, you may go for simple setup that I have provided in the quick virtual lab setup. Okay. Next, after setting up of this virtual lab, our task will start. So now means in the tutorial 1, we have started with the general knowledge of what is ethical hacking, what are the technical and non-technical details that you are supposed to be aware of. In tutorial 2, we have gone for learning of the basic Linux commands and general technical concepts such as TCP functioning and IP addressing, etc. Then in tutorial 3, we have set up our own lab by the help of the information that we have gained in tutorial 1 and 2. Then after setting up of the virtual lab, you must go through the footprinting process, which is the starting process which is the starting step of the penetration testing. Footprinting is the way of gathering the information, either maybe technical information or non-technical information. The objective of footprinting are mapping the network, knowing the security posture of the target, and going for narrow focus area of the target. So for this, you are supposed to explore the following tools and modes used for footprinting. So for this, you can go for Google hacking or Shodan. Shodan is a very popular hacker search engine. Next is Whois, which is a Whois lookup. Next is website mirroring, Black Window. Sorry, it is a Black Widow actually. So Black Widow and Multigo, Recon NG, OSR framework. Here several things are there. In my YouTube channel, you may find how to use Google hacking, how to use Shodan, and how to use this Whois footprinting, and also the footprinting process using social engineering. Various lecture videos are also available. you may follow those lecture videos and can try to solve this question. This is with respect to the tutorial 3. While coming to the tutorial 4, here now we are moving on to the technical direction. This is also especially this is a step of this is the second step of the ethical hacking or penetration testing process, which is called scanning. So scanning is more technical than the footprinting. In footprinting, we will go for general things. In scanning, we will go for technical things, especially. What are the technical things that we will go for? So for this, use the network prepared above. Prepared above in the sense in the tutorial 3, whatever the tutorial you use it, or you may use it. You may use the quick virtual app network also. That is up to you. Either you may go for setting up of the complex network or simple network. So currently, I recommend to go for simple network because you want to learn the hacking process and penetration testing process in a very quick way. So if it is in the beginning stages, then I recommend you to go for complex network. But now I recommend to go for to have faster grasping of the penetration testing topics. I recommend you to go for the quick quick virtual lab setup, in which simple lab was mentioned. So use the network prepared above. Practice the footprinting tools in Kali Linux. Choose vulnerable OS v2 or the target system. So I ask you may set up the vulnerable OS v2 as a target system and perform the things like netstat. One thing you remember, these are the tools you must be mastered. You must master these tools. So there exist 4 to 5 tools are there. You must master these tools to gain the basic to go through the first and second step of the penetration testing process. That is netstat, which will give you the network statistics. Netstat is a powerful footprinting tool to collect the network statistics such as incoming and outgoing network connections, viewing routing tables, network service debugging, network performance viewing, network troubleshooting, network interface statistics. This read all possible switches of netstat. That means you use man netstat. So in tutorial 2, I have told you, if you don't know anything, you may use man command. So in tutorial 4, man netstat, list all ports on the target system. So what are the different ports available on the target system? Usually there will be system ports, user ports, and desert ports. You list all the ports and you find out what are the different ports are open and closed. List only TCP ports. That means the ports with which the TCP services are binded. List only UDP ports in which the ports with only UDP services are running. List all activities listening ports or active listening ports. List all active Unix listening ports, UDP listening ports, TCP listening ports. Display statistics by protocol. That means how many the statistics that's showing for TCP, UDP, ICMP, and IP protocols. So for this, you are supposed to use -s is a switch that you to be used to display the statistics of the protocols that are running on the target computer. Okay. So what are the different switches? There are several switches available that can be used with the netstat. In that -s is for the statistics. So you type man netstat and you can go through the documentation provided there. Next is display statistics for UDP, display statistics for TCP, display active connections for IPv4, and display active connections for IPv4 listening on TCP ports. Display promiscuous mode with a -AC switch. So promiscuous mode means, promiscuous mode is a special mode in the network interface. Once you enable it, it will listen to all packets that are passing to the on the communication channel. Okay, it is just like a sniffing. Okay? In general, if the promiscuous mode is not active or not on, the system can get only the packet destination to it. It cannot listen any other packet. In general, any computer can listen to any packet which is going on the communication channel, but only receive the packet that it is destinated. Okay, it is just like there may be 10 members who are sitting in the hall, and so much noise is going on. That means all the 10 members are talking to them each other. It is just like assume the 10 computers and talking to each other. And at the same way, in a hall, the 10 members are sitting there and talking each other. Okay. So, but everyone can listen to everyone in general. But unless until somebody named a person and given a message, the destination person will not receive that message because will receive that message because the sender is named that person and has given the message. That is the reason the receiver is receiving that message. In the same way, the computer also, unless until the sender mention the destination IP and a message, the receiver will not receive that particular message since that message the sender message consisting of the destination IP address. In the same way, the computers can also listen to every packet which is happening, which is going on the communication channel. But if I want to get all the packets that are going on the communication channel, I need to enable the promiscuous mode of the network interface card, because the communication entry point or any message or packet entry point is the network interface. So this network interface must be turned on. Usually the sniffing tools such as Wireshark, TCP dump, these sniffing tools will will turn the network interface card into the promiscuous mode. That is the reason they can sniff all the packets that are going on the communication channel. So using NetStat, what you can do is you can also turn the promiscuous mode using -AC switch and default screen refresh in every second, and you will get the details, which is details of the packets that is going on the communication channel. So refresh every 5 seconds of all TCP ports. Refresh every 5 seconds of all TCP listening ports. Display information about network interfaces similar to ifconfig. Display kernel IP routing table with the netstat and root command. Especially to build up the routing table, you can use the root command or netstat command to get the root information. If it is a simple lab having only few operating systems and a simple network, then you will get a one hop distance only. But if you might have made a complex network like previous tutorial, where you have gone for some complex network, there are two LANs and one server is there. So LAN 1 has to, any computer in the LAN 1 has to communicate with the server. Then in turn server will communicate with the LAN 2. So thereby two hops distance will be there between LAN 1 and LAN 2. But if you are making only single LAN, then there will not be any distance. So that is the reason to realize that the complex network will help you. So display IP routing table and nested root command. So it will give you the route from the source to destination, how many hops away, and what is the time taken for transmitting the packets. Next is display network interface, packet transactions, including the both transferring and receiving the packet with the maximum transmission unit size. This MTU size, that is maximum transmission unit size, will vary from the operating system to operating system. If it is Linux, it will be around 8,000 something. If it is Windows XP or Windows 7, it is around 65,535. So it depends upon the operating system. The MTU size will vary. So to realize that, this particular question was asked. The next command that you need to practice is netcat. Netcat is another tool you are supposed to practice for, especially to read and write the TCP and UDP ports. It works in two modes. One is client mode, another is in the server mode, or we can say in listener mode. In the client mode, it initiates the connection and requires IP address and port number of the listener. And in the listener mode, the listener listens for the connection on a port. So what you are supposed to do is read all possible switches of netcat. For this, simply use man netcat. And next one is socket statistics tool. So anyhow, you may use socket statistic tool or netstat tool. You will get the statistics of the socket. Next is exercise various options of netcat, that is ncat, using this particular ncat tool. All these things will do the same task, especially to know the technical concept of technical details of the ports and sockets, ports and IP addresses, which is called sockets here. So that means one tool cannot give you the one tool cannot give you every information whatever you want. So that is reason, if you can know one or two tools which will give you one particular technical information, then if you won't get the information from one with one tool, you may use another tool to get the information. That is the reason, for one category you must know at least 2 to 3 tools, so that even though you cannot get information with one tool, you can get with another tools. So that is the reason I have provided 3 to 4 tools in this tutorial to explore. Next, visit the link http this GitHub reverse shell. Actually, reverse shell is the most commonly used technique for the system hacking or server hacking. So which is called reverse TCP or reverse shell. So I have provided this link especially to explore how this reverse shell will work. Anyhow, we'll see this reverse shell and all in the next later sections. So to get an awareness of this reverse shell, it is recommended to go through this website and find out. You can download the code which is available there, and also you can practice. Next, we'll move on to the tutorial 5, where so far we have seen the network interfaces and sockets in the tutorial 4. Now we can do footprinting and scanning actively or passively. Actively means by using the specialized tools like Nmap, Netcat, etc. And passively is by sniffing. So the tutorial 5 deals with the sniffing. The tutorial deals with the capturing of the analyzing the packets traces using Wireshark and TCP dump. So recall the virtual network created in tutorial 3. Make sure that internet can be accessed from any operating system on the network, and you are supposed to do this. So for this, you open a browser and go to the webkiosk.jit.ac.in, Gmail and Yahoo. And while doing this browsing, you turn on the Wireshark tool with root permissions, because if you turn on the Wireshark tool with root permissions, it will automatically turn on the Promiscuous mode. Whenever the Promiscuous mode was turned on, then only it can listen to all packets that are going on the communication channel. Now do the surfing of the internet for some time, then close the or stop the Wireshark tool. Then the packet capture will be recorded in the tool. You save the packet capture. On that packet capture, perform this particular thing. Capture only the traffic from IP address that is coming from the Kali Linux or some other thing. Here the IP addresses are different, and in the Quick Virtual Lab the IP addresses are different. You may choose whatever the IP address you want, and you may perform this particular task. Next is capture only DNS, capture from the so and so range. So you are supposed to make the filters and capture these things. Actually, if you look at Nmap tool and Netcat and all, they will generate huge traffic. So whenever the huge traffic is generated, there will be huge burden on the network. And at the same time, if any security devices that are available on the target computer can easily detect some attack is going to be happened on the system. But with the help of sniffing, you cannot, you will not face such a burden, and you can happily go through this particular sniffing process without knowing to the target. So that is in active, that is the problem, and in passive, this is the advantage. But in passive, you will not get the details of the services that are running on the target computer. But with the active scanning or footprinting, you will get the details of the services that are running on the target computer. So every aspect, every thing is having its own advantages and disadvantages. But as a penetration tester or ethical hacker, you must know both the methods. So that is the reason whenever it is required, you will use them. Next is these are the perform the internet browsing for at least 5 minutes. Use web kiosk, your web kiosk or whatever the browser, whatever the Gmail or Yahoo that you run. Okay. Then do this particular thing. Set a filter for this particular IP address and set a conversation filter. Set a filter for TCP packet. So these are the things you go through this. So for this, what you are supposed to do is you may go to the uh, uh, reference provided here, tcpdump.pdf, and you may use the filters which are provided in the documentation, or you may go to the Wireshark, any one of the Wireshark tutorial, and can perform this task. So this is with this what you will come to know is the technical details that what are the services, what are the packet sizes, and what are the services and what are the different offsets they use, what are the sequence numbers they use, how the sequence numbers are generated, what are the maximum transmission units, and other details you will come to know via sniffing. This is the passive footprinting or scanning. While coming to the tutorial 6, it is more technical compared to the previous one. Here we are going to use the active footprinting tools or scanning tools. So here footprinting and reconnaissance are one and the same, especially to gather the information, both technical and non-technical. But here scanning is particularly technical, where these are the tools are popular: HPing3, Nmap, Netcat, NCAT, and RNC. Turn on all the systems in the virtual network and use the Nmap tool. So check for the live probes, live systems. So you may go for the network scanning using Nmap, basic network scanning using Nmap tool in the video that is provided in the my YouTube channel. I will also place there are some other tools, some other videos which are more advanced videos also. Then you may go through those videos and you can find out how to use the Nmap, because Nmap is a very powerful tool that you can use for active scanning. So to know what are the live systems and scan the vulnerable OS v2, also scan the Ubuntu 8.4, detect the operating systems on 19.168.1.3. So in order to detect the operating system, you use the switch called -o. Next is scan exactly 1000 ports. So you are supposed to use the switch called -p. Perform the XMAS scan. This is called Christmas scan or XMAS scan. So for this, you are supposed to use the switch called -sx. Perform acknowledgement scan on the Ubuntu 8.4. For this, you are supposed to use the switch called -s capital A. Perform the intense scan. So intense scan is a thorough scan which will give the every detail of the services that are running on the target computer. Next is HPing3. This is another, we can say it's a powerful tool than the Nmap to get some technical details of the target system. So here there is a previous version of the HPing3 called HPing2. So you should know the differences between the HPing2 and HPing3. HPing3 can also be worked with the IPv6, and many other some other differences are there. You are supposed to find out what are the differences. You can refer to the lecture and you can get this information. Next is to check whether the firewall is on or off on the Windows XP system. So how you know that a firewall is on? If the firewall is on, the ports that you scan for will result into the message called filtered. So whenever the ports were returned with the reply that filtered means it was under the control of the firewall. Check for route to given domain or website. Next is send synchronous signal to AT port on the vulnerable OS v2. Explore conducting denial of service attack using HPing3. So we have seen the DOS denial of service lecture, how to use HPing3 to launch the denial of service. by simply flooding the synchronous signal. You may refer to that lecture video and can get that information. Use an NCAT or NC for the following. Listen to TCP port 12344 port 1234 on Kali Linux and follow these instructions and perform the remote and reverse shell operation to know about the details of the services that are running on the Ubuntu 8.04. These are the vulnerable services that are running on and identify them. So you may go to the references HPing3 and Netcat, and you may go through this cheat sheet which is available for the HPing3 and also for the Netcat, and can complete this particular tutorial.